with Colorado spring ball having winded down and all the transfer portal madness kind of calming down, I think it's officially time to drop my post-spring depth chart projection for the offense.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Warber. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off, we got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, I'm your host, Kevin Warber, and we're going to be talking about Colorado's offensive depth chart because that's the unit that will carry the team. That is the unit that will help them stay in games, regardless of how good or not the defense is. The offensive line struggled last year and was a major reason that this team was unable to sort of be on the right end of 500. They were 4-8, and I think had the offensive line been slightly better, 6-6 was in the realm of possibility. I really do. Now, the defense had some part in that as well, but again, the offense had its issues. It had no run game. Offensive line was poor, and Shedeur Sanders still managed to tear it up. So I wanted to dive through each position. I'm going to give you my two deep and kind of discuss and talk about guys who could maybe push for a starting spot, who can maybe push for some rotational time. So let's dive right in with the most important position in college football, maybe in sports, quarterback. You got Shedeur Sanders, the starting quarterback, no question there. And then I'm going to go Ryan Staub behind him. I think Walter Taylor may have a chance to kind of supplant Staub as the backup, but neither of them really impressed me during the spring game. I also wasn't that impressed with Destin Wade, which he did have a good throw, but other than that, we didn't see much out of the backup quarterbacks during the spring game. So I'm going to go with Staub for now, and I will say Walter Taylor would probably be the one that comes off the bench, and if he gets used in a run package, it wouldn't surprise me if he was used here and there. So let's move on to the running backs. Obviously, the quarterback one was pretty obvious. Running backs got really interesting. It went from position of need because Alton McCaskill has injury issues and Dylan Edwards is undersized, and then it was just freshman Michael Welch to I think this is a position of strength now. The Colorado Buffaloes went out and landed two transfer portal running backs in Dallin Hayden. And then they also landed Rashad Amos from Miami of Ohio. Hayden came from Ohio State. Amos, like I said, comes from Miami of Ohio via South Carolina. So he has experience at the Power 5 level. And then they also have Michael Welch. And then they've also added one of the Hood brothers, who is the Auburn transfer, the younger brother of Brandon Hood. So they have a lot of depth, the younger brother Colton Hood, Brandon. So they have a lot more depth there. Isaiah Harge played running back during the spring game, and I thought he did pretty good. I thought, honestly, if I had never watched Colorado play before, I'd be like, that guy's our best running back. He was that good. Now, obviously, Michael Welch wasn't playing, and we didn't get to see Charlie Offerdahl, and Charlie Offerdahl's still in the mix. But this is how I foresee the running back room shaking out, at least to start the year. I think Michael Welch, great spring. Charlie Offerdahl, great spring, worked his way up all the way to number 2 on the depth chart, earned himself a scholarship, which round of applause for Charlie. We'd love that for him. But I think Dallin Hayden gets a start. He's a physical back, big back, had some success at Ohio State. Every time he played, he did well. It was just a matter of they had Trayvon Henderson. They had other guys. They had a lot of talent in that running back room, and I think he just kind of got buried on the depth chart. Now he's going up against guys that are not proven at the Power 5 level or inexperienced. And I think this is where he kind of takes advantage of it. I think it's going to be a rotation, though. I don't think Colorado's going to have a bell cow of a running back. I think they're going to rotate guys in and out. I think we're going to see Amos. I think we're going to see Michael Welch. And I think we're going to see Hayden. We may see some Charlie Offerdahl. But I do think Dallin Hayden is the lead back. Tight end is a little bit interesting. Realistically, I don't think Colorado addressed this position at all. They got a transfer from UNLV, and then they got a transfer from Ohio State. Sam Hart, Colorado native, didn't play. So I would say Sam Hart's probably the starter. Maybe Savell Smalls starts to in a blocking capacity, but I don't think the tight end is going to be a weapon that Colorado utilizes this season. I think when they start games, they're probably going to have 4 wide receivers. So I'm going to carry this as the offense will have 4 wide receivers. But if they were to start a tight end, I'd probably go with Sam Hart, and then Savell Small is right behind him. That would be how I would do it. And then let's go over to right tackle. The offense line got really interesting because the Colorado Buffaloes obviously added a ton of talent from the offensive line in the portal, and then they went out and added more. They were like, you know what? That's great. That's real great. Here, by the way, we don't care. We're going to add more. So the starting line in the spring game was Jordan Seaton, Tyler Brown, Hank Zelinkas, Justin Mayers, and then Khalil Benson, the Indiana transfer. I think Khalil Benson locks down that right tackle spot. I think it will be him and then Peyton Kirkland right behind him, the Texas transfer, who, if you guys don't remember, or actually, no, I scratched that. Ethan Boyd, Michigan State transfer. I think I'm flipping back and forth now. I'm going to go with Kirkland at right tackle, Boyd at left tackle as a backup. Peyton Kirkland, 6'6", 366 pounds. I think learning behind Khalil Benson will help him, and then he will be ready to step in next season. Then Justin Mayers at left guard. I think he sticks around. I think he stays there. And I think realistically, you have a guy like Tyler Owens, or not Tyler Owens, excuse me. Not Tyler Owens. Wrong Owens name. Zach Owens. I think he kind of slides behind that other guard spot. I think he'll be behind Justin Mayers at the left guard. 6'6", 375. They got some girth in there. They got some big girth. So starting right tackle, Khalil Benson. Starting left tackle, Justin Mayers. Backup right tackle, Peyton Kirkland. Backup right guard, Zach Owens. And then I think Hank Zelinkas is a starter at center with Yakiri Walker behind him. Then Tyler Brown. I think even though he started at left guard during the spring game, I feel like Tyler Johnson's going to be hard to keep off the field. So I'm going to go Tyler Johnson, then Tyler Brown, flip-flop him, and then Jordan Seaton at left tackle. And I do think Ethan Boyd will be there to back him up. So that's my offense line. Even though we're not done yet, you guys comment below what your starting 5 offensive line will be. Which running back you think will get the start? Comment below, and we can discuss in the comments. Okay, let's move on to wide receivers. I think they're going to start 4 wide receivers and kind of use the tight end sparingly. So I'm going to give you my first 4 starting receivers: Travis Hunter, Omarion Miller, Jimmy Horn, and LeJontay Wester. I think those 4 guys are going to be the first ones on the field. Now, I think the backups or reserves, if you will Shepard, Draylon Miller is another one. And then that's where it gets tough because, honestly, you have a guy like Terrell Timmons. They have a lot of talent at wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting. I think that they go with Cameron McKell, Cordell Russell. But I think those are my starting 4. I don't know who the other guys would be behind them because I don't think they're going to use that many. Caleb Mathis could possibly try to get in the mix there, but I'm going Hunter, Omarion Miller because the wide receiver coach said he loved him, LeJontay Wester, and Jimmy Horn. Those are my starting 4. Draylon Miller coming off the bench, Will Shepard off the bench as well, the Vanderbilt transfer, 6'4". They got some big bodies. They have a lot of talent at wide receiver. It wouldn't shock me if they had multiple sort of starting rotations, if you will. It reminds me of when Kentucky basketball had, I think it was like Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis, Karl Anthony Towns, the Harrison twins. And they had like the blue team and the white team where it was like, you just come out at once. Like everyone, we're going with the blue team this round, white team next. Like I think Colorado's receiver room is that deep to where they have starting caliber receivers on the bench as they have other receivers starting. So that's my starting offensive unit for Colorado. It is subject to change. I'm going to do the defense tomorrow because defense wins championships. So got to save the best for last. I'm going to do the defense tomorrow. I think realistically, this offense is one of the better units in college football. If everyone's healthy and if the offensive line comes together and meshes, we'll find out. But you guys comment below which one you agree with the most, like which position group. Is there one that you disagree with? You guys let me know and we can discuss in the comments. When we come back, we're going to be talking about why I think Colorado won the transfer portal, and it doesn't even really matter what other teams did. I think Colorado's portal was just so good that they kind of won the portal. This episode of Locked On Bus is brought to you by our sponsors over at ePay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Locked On Bus is also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. And the Locked On Network, we got a lot of cool things cooking up. And let me tell you about Locked On 24/7 streaming. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all the shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or for free on the Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's dive into the Colorado transfer portal, why they want it, and what makes a winning portal class. Realistically, what makes a winning portal class is adding players that improve your team. Now, this could mean you added 6 players and they're all going to fill your needs. Like, say you're like Alabama and you didn't do a lot of the portal, or you're like Texas. We'll go Texas because I know their portal class. They added, I think it was like 8 guys, maybe less, and they're all probably going to start or be key contributors. That's a win. That is winning the portal. But if you're a team like Colorado, how do you win the portal? Coach Prime obviously relied on the portal heavily last year and this year. And I think this year's class is looking a lot better than last year's class in terms of the experience they got, but just in terms of what they did in the portal. So let's discuss. First of all, Colorado's transfer portal class is ranked 7th in the country. They have 39 commits, which I believe is the most in college football. Louisville second with 30, Indiana third with 29. So Colorado has the most transfer portal players in the portal, or in the country, excuse me. They have the second most 4-stars in the country with 8. Florida State leads the way with 10, and then Texas A&M is also tied with 8. And then Colorado has 28 3-star transfers, which is the most in the country. Louisville's second again. So Colorado's 7th overall class, not bad. But you look at where this Colorado class was last year. It was number 1 in the country, and everyone was like, wow, this Coach Prime guy, he's getting it done. And honestly, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, he's getting a lot of players, so that's a good thing. And I think I gave quantity the front seat to quality. I think he brought in a lot of players, which he needed to. That roster was horrendous the year prior, but I don't think they were really valuing quality of player. And I think we're seeing that now because Colorado obviously has a lot of departures as well this season. They have 41 outgoing transfers to their 39 coming in. And a lot of these guys are guys that were transferring in last year, where it was like Bishop Thomas, he was expected to sort of be a guy. Or Marion Cooper went back to Florida State. Savion Wilkerson, J.J. Hawkins, like the list goes on and on. Adam Hopkins, he was a freshman. But you guys get the gist. Alton McCaskill, Demoy Kennedy. It was guys where it was like, okay, they didn't pan out at their first stop, but they're going to be good here. And I think a lot of that was getting excited about the helmet sticker, which I kind of made that rule later on in the year once I realized who was contributing and who was not, where a lot of fans were like, okay, sorry, there was something on my finger. A lot of fans were like, okay, this guy came from this SEC program, so he's going to be good. Like, he played at Alabama, so he's going to be good. And then he ended up this guy, transfer A, we'll call him, ended up not playing at all. And it's like, okay, what went wrong? He's from Alabama. Well, I think we have to sort of value the importance of experience, depth, and potential. And you look at this Colorado class, and the way to win the portal is by addressing needs, but also getting guys that are going to play. And they address needs. They address the offensive line. Obviously, they brought in, I think it was like, oh, let me pull up that. Did they count? Yeah, they did. No, they did not. I was trying to see if 24/7 counted the offensive tackles that they brought in. They brought in 1 offensive lineman, 2, 3, 4. I think they brought in around 10. I'm not going to count them all because I don't want to waste your time, but I think they brought around 10 offense linemen plus Jordan Seaton. So they brought in a ton of depth. This unit is looking a lot better. Then it's like, okay, they needed to bolster the secondary. Amarion Cooper, while he started a lot for them, wasn't always doing the best. Well, they go out and get Preston Hodge. They go out and get DJ McKinney, who was starting at Oklahoma State, who was a key contributor at Oklahoma State. He's going to start alongside Travis Hunter. And then it's like, okay, they lose Cormani McClain. Brutal, yes. But then they go out and get some defensive backs. They go out and get a guy like R.J. Johnson from Arkansas, who didn't play, but he has multiple years of experience. He's going to get developed by Robert Livingston. They go out and get Colton Hood, not multiple years experience. He was at Auburn for this past year, saw a little bit of action. He has multiple years of eligibility. R.J. Johnson, 6'2", he has size. They go out and get, Ivan Yates from Fordham, or for Furman, He has experience. Senior. He has a lot of depth, or he adds a lot of depth. So this defensive back room looks better. They got some safety help. They're moving some guys around, and it's going to look a lot different. They did everything they needed to do in the portal. They bolstered the offensive line. They bolstered the wide receiver room, which I didn't even know was possible because I was like, this room's already loaded. And then they went out and addressed the need of running back. So I think Colorado is a major winner of the transfer portal. I don't want to say they won the portal because I feel like other schools maybe address needs that will help them contend for a title. But this Colorado team, they got better in the trenches. Oh, I got to shout out the defensive line too. They go out and get guys like Samuel O, BJ Green, 5 sacks apiece. They go out and get all these guys from Deion Hayes, who was a guy that played a lot at Pitt. He was super experienced, comes over. I expect him to have an impact. They get a guy like Torian Carter from Arkansas, who played a bit, wasn't really a full-time starter, but has a lot of experience. They take a flyer on a guy like Anquin Barnes, 6'5", 315 from Alabama. They take a flyer on former four-star recruit Quincy Wiggins. They did everything that I think they could have done in the portal. Now, do I think that they need to recruit more, which they are recruiting really well in this 2025 class? Yeah, I do think they could recruit high school players more, but they're getting depth, players that are going to be here for multiple years. They're getting guys that will contribute right away. This portal class is looking really good, and I can't wait to see it on the field. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the drama, which I think is unnecessary, about Shedeur Sanders' latest song release. But first, a word from our sponsors over at Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You've already talked about that, but there is just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you could trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash your buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique minigames like digging for treasure or a robot Panchico machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something to do. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on with Monopoly Go. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Yahoo Finance. Now, let me tell you about Yahoo Finance. And let me tell you, wouldn't it be great if you could see all your investment and retirement accounts in one place? With Yahoo Finance, you could consolidate your views from multiple accounts into one hub and access the expert analysis you need to tend to your entire portfolio. Let's get straight to the point. You want to grow your portfolio to deal with the rising cost of inflation, to pay off your debt or your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in your way of financial freedom, right? Well, with Yahoo Finance, you could get access to the news, data, and tools that you need in order to help reach that financial freedom. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're the seasoned investor or you're looking for extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They are the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. With a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. It is another day of me providing you guys the dopest content I think imaginable. It's another day of me sort of diving into all this shenanigans, all this jazz, all this you know what that's going on around Colorado. And guess what? There's more shenanigans, believe it or not. You look at this Colorado team and you just have to know that people can kind of exaggerate things. They blow things out of proportion, but it's happened again. Shedeur Sanders has released a rap song, kind of a rap. I guess it was a rap genre, and people are of course kind of blasting Colorado for it, calling him unserious. His song is called Perfect Timing. These are some of the comments that people said about this. They're going to be blaring the song when Colorado on the road and down by 4+ scores. Cannot wait for this to play over a montage of mistimed passes and picks. This is worse than his actual team. The perfect time to delete this would be right now. This is going to be platinum or on opposing teams' highlights reels. And then this other person said, "This is ass. This is the worst diss track Drake has released so far. Is this real or a joke?" So a lot of people are coming at Shedeur. Now, do I want my starting quarterback releasing music? I don't know. I don't really care. Is it taking away from his play? I doubt it. There's no football going on. Shedeur Sanders is a grinder. Everyone knows that. We saw that when he went from the FCS to the Power 5 level. He did just fine. So I imagine he knows when is the time to sort of focus on music. And I imagine he knows when is the time to sort of focus on football. I think a lot of people are hating on this because it's Shedeur Sanders. But guess what? Even though it's not music, anytime another player does an NIL deal where they're advertising for Canes or Lamborghini or whatever it is, I don't care. Guess what? That's time away from football. This is his hobby. This is his free time. I promise you there's not a single player in sports that is just dialed in on whatever sport. Mike Trout golfs, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, was an avid golfer to the point where it may have been an obsession. Steph Curry golfs. LeBron James, he reads. I don't know. Like, everyone does something different. So why do people care so much? Well, it's Shedeur Sanders. Should they care so much? No. Now, if Shedeur Sanders next season was focused on dropping bars and dropping hits rather than throwing touchdown passes, then I'd be concerned. But with the song dropping in the middle of May, no one should care. And I think people are just blowing this out of proportion because it's Shedeur Sanders. It's the Sanders family. People want to hate for no reason. But again, every player, every athlete has a hobby. I'm sure some of these kids are playing video games or streaming. They have podcasts. What's the difference between a podcast, a song, whatever? People just need to relax. As Aaron Rodgers just said, or once said, relax. It's not that big of a deal. I think people are just doing this because it's Shedeur Sanders. You guys comment below what you think on the song. Haven't listened to it yet. I will give it a listen. We'll give you a slight review tomorrow. Not a full segment, just a review. And I will let you guys know what I think. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me Locked on Buffs your first listen of the day. You're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and supporting me.